extremist violent attacks in America, extremist violent murder, 76% are from right-wing extremists.
That's certainly not the message we're hearing from some in the sort of far right, podcasting sphere who make money off this, but off this kind of rhetoric.
Speaking of this tragedy, is this a moment for your party to reflect on political violence?
The more things change, the more they stay the same.
Hey, welcome back, everybody. Not really sure how to start this video. I was gonna work on it last night, but to be completely honest, I was really upset. Wasn't sure if I could even compose myself to do it, which is weird, right? Because I have never met Charlie Kirk. He was not my friend, but I did follow him for probably about the last 10 years. In fact, when I first got into YouTube politics, that was one of the first channels I ever watched, was Charlie Kirk doing debates. Charlie Kirk, Milo Yiannopoulos, Ben Shapiro, all those guys. That was kind of my introduction to YouTube's political world. And so I've been following him all these years, and so it feels like somebody that I do know was brutally murdered in front of me, brutally assassinated in front of me, in front of his wife and kids. The media has spent many years, at least the last 20 years, and it's only gotten worse as we've gone, referring to the Democrats' political opponents as right-wing, far-right, white supremacist, racist, Nazis, which has become an all too familiar slur over the last couple years, as the Democrats claim we're at war against our political opponents, and you really got to do whatever's necessary.
Then your democracy is gone. Like we're in a war right now to save this country, and so you have to be willing to do whatever is necessary in order to save the country.
And sure enough, someone else out there felt compelled to take action. Gee, I wonder why. Well, to make matters even worse, the media, they're not calling out the left. They're not taking any personal responsibility, which they never do when there's left-wing violence. No, they blame the victims. They blame the Republicans. They say the Republicans need to tone down their rhetoric. It's never the Democrats' fault. It's both sides sometimes. Sometimes they'll throw out both sides, but usually it's the Republicans' fault, or even Charlie Kirk's fault. And that's what we're seeing a lot of from CNN, MSNBC, the networks, ABC, NBC, and CBS. And I'm going to share a few of those clips with you right now, starting out with this clip from NBC.
And as Tony mentioned, not everyone took to his words or his rhetoric. At times, they were offensive to specific communities. But with that said, this is not the time to focus on that.
That literally just happened.
We are focused on this tragedy. Speaking of this tragedy, is this a moment for your party to reflect on political violence? Is it a moment for us to think about the responsibility of our political leaders and their voices and what it does to the masses as they get lost in misinformation or disinformation?
What kind of babbling bullshit is this?
What the hell is he even talking about? I love how at first he's almost trying to justify the assassination, saying, oh, well, Charlie Kirk said things that offended people. Okay, I mean, this guy's offending us right now. What's he saying? That he's now open for the same standard that was applied to Charlie Kirk? Is that what he's saying? Because I'm offended right now by the words that are coming out of this idiot's mouth. And you can almost tell that his co-hosts, they're uncomfortable. But I just love how immediately he turns it around on your party, the Republican Party. Yes, there's been multiple assassination attempts against Donald Trump. There's been one against Brett Kavanaugh. There was one against the GOP Congress where they actually hit Steve Scalise. Nobody else got hit, thank God. But the guy was screaming, this is for healthcare. Clearly, he was a Democrat working for the Bernie Sanders campaign. And I just want to mention one other thing about this is clearly what happened to Charlie Kirk was a terrorist attack. It was clearly intended to intimidate conservatives specifically from speaking in public, from doing what Charlie Kirk was doing. The terrorist attack was intended to stop Republicans from speaking. And now we see mainstream network news media, a reporter on CBS, I said NBC earlier, is essentially backing up the terror attack. He's now asking Republicans to stop speaking because of what happened. And his intention was to silence conservatives And now the media is somehow like backing that up. Okay, next I have this clip from Anderson Cooper on CNN, and he's interviewing Dan Goldman. And Dan Goldman says that it's incredibly dangerous, that these far-right podcasters need to realize that this is not war. And this is what you're seeing across the media, is that they're trying to put it off that this is all because of the far right, which is literally anybody that opposes them. They throw that term out, but when do you ever hear far left? They are far left, but you're never going to hear that. Trying to claim that right-wing podcasters, these mysterious, shadowy boogeymen out there, are trying to claim that we're at war, and they're trying to make that the issue. Of course, you know, Charlie Kirk was just assassinated for his opinions and for speaking. We're just going to forget about that, and let's just forget about all those other assassination attempts that I mentioned. But let's just check out this clip, and then I'm going to show you another one immediately after that.
That's certainly not the message we're hearing from some in the sort of far right, you know, podcasting sphere who make money off this, but off this kind of rhetoric.
So number one, Anderson Cooper claims that far-right podcasters are making money off this rhetoric that he calls extreme, and for them noticing that it seems to be there are left-wingers at war with us. Of course, Anderson Cooper is part of a network that makes money with rhetoric, inciting violence and hatred against the Democrat Party's political opponents.
I mean, they're talking about war. That there's a war targeting conservatives.
Yeah. Look, it's that is incredibly dangerous. I am really, really disappointed.
I mean, they're talking about war. That there's a war targeting conservatives.
Yeah.
Like we're in a war right now to save this country, and so you have to be willing to do whatever is necessary in order to save the country.
I am pissed off beyond belief. It's hard to express in words, okay? That these people have the nerve to gaslight us even further. Now, I'm going to show you another clip from CNN and another Democrat going off, of course, blaming the right for left-wing violence against them. Part of a trend of left-wing violence that, let's not pretend it's just assassination attempts. It's riots, it's violent attacks. And they've been going on since Donald Trump took office, since before he took office, because the Michael Brown riots that CNN helped to incite with their hands up, don't shoot disinformation was going on in 2015.
We all need to turn down the rhetoric. So let's be serious about where this violence is coming from. Of extremist violent attacks in America, extremist violent murders, 76% are from right-wing extremists, 4% are from left-wing extremists. I condemn that 4%, but we also need to be honest about it as a nation about where this violence is coming from.
I don't know exactly what stats he's referring to, but number one, just because the left isn't good at completing their murders doesn't mean that they're not trying and they're not committing a lot of violence. I mean, there were 4 or 5 years of sustained violent rioting from the left, but he won't count that. You'll notice he said murders. And my guess is that most of what he is attributing that to that stat is probably prison gang violence or gang violence in general. It's easy for him to say this because we all know that they memory hole left-wing violence against Republicans than the right while they commemorate events of the right. And so they had to commemorate it because there's a lot of left-wing violence that is fresh in people's minds, so they have to stop. They never talking about it again. You notice they never even talk about the GOP baseball game attack, ever. But if he had succeeded, it would have been pretty major that he assassinated 1, 2, 3, 4 Republican congressmen because of their stance on healthcare. Yeah, we have to turn down our rhetoric, yet anybody can go out there and see tons of leftists celebrating. There was a leftist celebrating right after he got shot, literally stood up in front of the camera celebrating. I'm sad for Charlie Kirk, his wife and his kids especially. I'm sad for this country. I'm sad for the people who have bought in to this disgusting, diseased ideology that is clearly driving this country. And there is some of it on both sides. But what I will always tell people is that what you see is that there's a lot of condemnation, at least up to this point, for rhetoric and actions on the right, while rhetoric and actions on the left get mainstream institutional support and promotion. There is some difference there. And I feel like we're seeing that in action right now because there aren't, you know, right-wingers and conservatives targeting left-wing influencers and speakers. Conservatives need extra security on college campuses and have for the last 10 years, not leftists, because nobody's targeting them. All right, folks, I'm rambling here, but I appreciate you watching. If you made it this far, might as well hit that like button and subscribe. I do post on a regular basis, so make sure to keep checking back for more. Thanks a lot.